in a under 300 horsepower kind of way. I'm guessing a Volvo assortment. Sort of. Motorcycles. Is it though? I uh, Caliph Armstrong IS 500. Yes, we have a Corolla 93 Jerry with a 93 1.8 DX Corolla. Skoda VRS. More European cars we can't get. Mohammed's a big fan of motorcycles. Mark 7.5 GTI. Mike with the depends on the day. I have enough shit boxes to last me 2 weeks without driving the same one twice. uh, and so did Pontiac, and so did Holden. All of it gone. We got a Mazda 3 hatch. We have Eastern European letters. Sorry, I can't read that. I apologize. Yaris 1000cc Freetronic. Might have been beaten by higher horsepower cars, but I'm beat him with all the gas prices at the ATM. Certainly beats me. Mark Woods with Greg's favorite card. Mark Woods, Greg, he has your favorite car.
Off the next Kia EV6 GT. That's another cool electric vehicle. We saw
Yeah.
that in the Super Bowl ads.
Yeah. John
Ooh,
Augustine, Lexus LFA. One,
yeah.
excellent suggestion. Two, thanks for following us for 4 years, my friend. Very cool.
Wow.
Thank you so much. Yeah. And if you guys don't know what we're talking about, next to people's names, there are these little badges. You can kind of see this gentleman, John, is a anniversary follower for 4 years. So thank you for 4 years of following our stupidity. I really appreciate that.
Thank you,
We
John.
appreciate that.
We have
2003 Subaru Outback Legacy Edition.
nice.
With a 3-liter flat six. That's actually a super underrated engine. That's a really great engine from Subaru.
One of the best
If I were gonna
Subarus
do
ever made.
yeah, I was gonna say if I was gonna do any Subaru swap other than your typical STI swap, I would probably go for the H6.
We have Dwayne with a 2012 Grand Sport Corvette. All the fun of a Z06 with none of the trunnion problem. Well, not as much trunnion problems.
Right. Because what is it? It's LS7 versus LS3?
Yeah. It's a
just-
C5
yeah,
too, so that's right up your guys' alley.
Yeah.
Justin Rico, Lincoln Mark 8 LSC. Nice. Didn't... Shifting lanes, the only place where you'll see a Lincoln be exciting.
That's right.
We have unpronounceable name again. You have a middle
That's
initial
Constantine. That's in the comments.
Constantine. Thank you
What's
for
up,
correcting me.
Constantine?
E30
Yes,
with an
and
M50.
thank you for being a top fan, Constantine.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Aaron Ogleshaw, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. What's up from an Australian high school math class? Well, what's up from my kitchen in New Jersey, USA?
What are you learning, by the way? What kind of math class? I'm actually kind of interested.
Clearly nothing interesting to be on our stream, so you're in the right spot, man.
Hey,
Good
math
job,
is
Aaron.
important, guys.
Yeah.
More than English class
It's
or
true.
literature or
Math is
whatever
important
you
when
guys.
you're building engines.
Yeah.
Constantine also asked, is it better to go turbo or ITB? Depends. Do you want big power or do you want response and fun on the back roads? ITBs are going to be better on the back roads, turbo more power, track, things like that, measuring contests at the local pub, etc.
That's right.
But like, I mean, a full ITB setup is going to run you similar prices to a turbo setup. So you got to weigh the fun versus the fun and noise of ITBs, which is epic, versus the seat of the pants thrust of forced induction.
Yeah.
Glenn Craven, Nissan, 2010 Nissan Armada. Did you read the question? I'm just messing, man.
Yeah. What
But thanks for
car
following us
excites
for
you the
5 years.
most?
Now that Chad said that, I'm sure you will not follow us anymore for 5 years. So appreciate that.
We had a
Thanks,
good-
Chad, for scaring him away.
So while we wait for other comments, what are your guys? What cars excite you guys the most, Greg's and Chad?
Ooh, we probably have 2 categories. One of them is super boring, and the other one is pretty stereotypical for just car people in general. I really like wagons, but specifically like fast wagons. Like I have a Volvo V60 Polestar from 2016 with the inline 6, super cool. I love the new Audi RS6. I love the E63 AMG wagons. They're super fun to look at because I can't drive them because they're like $100,000. Don't have that lying around to buy any of those, but they're just cool. I just love fast wagons and hot wagons and shooting brakes too in that same kind of category. Ferrari FF, some of the Aston Martin Zagatos that like the little hatchback with the Vanquish, $1 million cars, but like they're just so cool to me. So that's one category. The other category is just like in general, just like fast sports cars and supercars. Jaguar F-Type, Pagani Huayra, Koenigsegg, McLarens, Ferraris, Lambos, like you name it. I just like
Did you just
the
include a
stereotypical fast
Jaguar
supercars.
F-Type with all those other supercars?
Yeah, I mean, hey, look, Jaguar F-Type, I would consider borderline supercar based on performance. It's 0 to 60 in, I think, 3.9 seconds.
Walking
So-
pace.
Yeah.
And
I mean-
it does the quarter in the 11s. So
Yeah.
honestly, that's on par with modern supercars. I mean, not like your McLaren 720s, but like anything in the last 15 years that was considered a supercar, that's on par with it.
I remember on our press events driving the F-Type SVR, and this was like might have been a 2018 2019 model, but it was a convertible, and
It's fast, man.
it's like one of those cars that had like that loud burble tune before burble tunes were like so like popular now. So just driving that for the first time and just like hearing all that orchestra in the back, it just sounded so amazing. But yeah, that's one of the more exciting cars for me too.
Aaron, don't laugh at me. Don't laugh at me from math class. I see you saying a bunch of laughing faces with F-Type. No. You go back to learning. Get out of here.
Laugh away. But before we move on, I just want to point out Richard, yeah. What
We could
excites
go
him?
to the next comment.
2015 Mustang GT with the 6-speed. It's safe to assume I have some experience with that platform. Highly exciting, highly modded. Look into transmission mods if you have one. Just saying. Luke Morris.
The Continental GT, good one.
Luke Morris, Volvo C30, but the D3, so the 2-liter 5-cylinder, close to the car I've owned. Another car I owned. But as far as what excites me, I'm going to take a slightly different route with this, and I'm going to say the next car is what excites me. And what I mean by that is, so I had the C30, did a bunch of mods. It was a ton of fun working on myself. The pride you get from doing something yourself versus a mechanic doing it, etc. That was hugely fun. And then we started talking about what's next. And then that became the Mustang. Super excited about the Mustang, came up with a plan for it, and we're currently smack in the middle of it. June, July, she'll hopefully be boosted. So once you start thinking about that, I shouldn't say that, and then obviously body mods, but then just being the type of person that I am, the next car that excites me is the one I don't own yet, the project that has yet to be, because there's something exciting about a new project and then watching it come to fruition. So like, if to answer the question in a specific form, cars that excite me, anything loud, good exhaust note, and fun to drive. So like, I bust chops with Hansen all the time for driving the Veloster, but it makes a great noise. It's fun to drive. You sit in it, meaning I'm not 100% on the styling of it. It's a little wonky, but it's not ugly. I'll put it that way. But it's a hoot to drive, front wheel drive. It has all the goodies you want for a back road blaster. That's fun. Greg's wagon, again, it needs an exhaust, but once it does so, straight sixes sound epic when they're done right.
Yeah.
That'd be a fun car.
Pretty good
honestly. And it'd be a mind fuck again because wagon, loud, people don't expect it. Holy crap, my chat just caught up.
Whoa.
Yeah, there's a lot. So Luke, which kind of got chat onto that C30 thing. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate you watching this the C30 videos. We got some more coming for you on Shifting Lanes 2. If you don't already know, we have Shifting Lanes, our normal channel on YouTube. We also have Shifting Lanes 2 out there now for all of our personal cars and stream highlights for this stuff. So go sub there, go watch our stuff there. And appreciate you being another one. We got a lot of anniversary followers, 5 years following the Facebook page and 5 years following us on social. So thank you so much for that. Jean Augustine saying Bentley Continental GT, best Grand Touring. Totally agree. Really wonderful car, and he owns one. Congratulations to you, sir. That is very
nice.
Cool on just being successful enough to own that. I would love to be as successful as you are.
He says, having previously owned an Aston Martin. Continue.
That was the same price as a Camry. I highly doubt that John's is the same price as a Camry.
It's still an Aston Martin.
It's multiplied by 5, 6, 7 or so.
Yeah. Matt Lindy Jr., also another 5-year anniversary follower. Thanks so much for following and tuning in. He drives an 04 35th anniversary Subaru Legacy wagon, 5-speed, 2.5 non-turbo. Great little car. I agree. That is a great little car. That thing is going to last you until the end of time. So take good care of it, and it'll treat you well for sure. Who else we got? Caleb Adams, also a milestone follower. Thank you so much for tuning in and checking back in. And he has an LS swapped 1978 Ford Fairmont. That's badass. Very cool. Wow.
Luke Morris Synergy. Shelby GT350. I know, Greg, you're a big fan of that.
That's a cool one.
Yes, one of my top 5 cars right now. Such a great car.
If you enjoy the Shelby GT350, I don't know the timing of it, but Greg and I are going to be doing a video with my Mustang and talking about the 350 and a lot of things that, let's just say don't toe the company line when it comes to the 350. So definitely stay tuned for that. Hopefully that's coming soon.
Yes.
We have Sam with a mini truck mixed with BNS style ute. I'm going to need who's the Australian in math class? What is BNS?
Aaron. Yeah, where'd Aaron go?
Aaron.
You done messed up, Aaron. Come back here and explain what that means.
Yeah. While we wait for them, what car excites me the most is um, the Cobra kit car. That's one of my dream
Yeah.
cars, and I've never driven one. I've never sat in one, but I've seen a bunch of them, and it just excites me the most. And I don't want to buy, well, I can't buy the original Cobras, of course, because they're millions of dollars, but I really want to build my own. There's a bunch of kit cars or kit companies that produce kit cars out there, like Factory 5 Racing, and really interested in buying one of those kits and then buying a donor car and like putting it all together, buying all the different parts, refurbishing some of the parts, like all that entire process excites me the most. And hopefully I'll be
Yeah.
lucky enough to be able to do that in the future. But yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. Those are cool.
Real quick, Anton Hansen, have you seen anyone in your area with an Elantra N yet? And if so, has something in the Elantra N tried to size you up yet against your Veloster N? Have we raced
So,
Elantra Ns?
I have not seen an Elantra in my area. I know that
Ooh,
the
I did.
you did.
We all live pretty close to each other here in New Jersey, and yeah, I did see one the other day.
Huh.
It was funny enough. It was in just a neighboring town, so there's one local,
There's one
but
local.
yeah, I mean you may not see it,
Yeah.
but I did see one, and it
Yeah.
was pretty cool looking.
Yeah, no one's really tried to size up the Veloster N just yet. Maybe because my commute's close, but yeah, haven't seen the Elantra N. Hoping to get that in the press fleet soon or for review soon. So I know I've at this point I've tested my own Veloster N. I've reviewed the 2021 and 2022 Veloster Ns because there's
Wait, hold
some
on. You
slight
tested
changes
your
there.
Veloster N?
Yes, yeah. Well, I did a review on it, but haven't gotten the Elantra N yet, but I'm really excited to try that out because, in my opinion, I think that's the better car. It's priced better. And it has four doors, so there's a little bit more utility, but also I think there's just a lot of a couple of performance benefits over the Veloster N, but. That's just what I've heard so far. Not sure yet. I'm gonna have to try it out.
Whoa. Okay. So, Chad, you have to look up this BNS mini truck thing. Like I just pulled up some pictures. It looks like Australian Bozazoku.
Wait, what? I'm gonna have to look this up.
It's if I'm looking at the right thing. So Sam Morton, if you can confirm in chat, if you're still watching, that would be great. Is it basically like putting giant truck like bumpers and like he was saying in his comment, truck bull bars and huge exhaust pipes? Like I literally just searched BNS mini truck and yeah, go to the top right picture
Oh,
there on your screen. It's like front end Australian Bozazoku.
this is.
It's hilarious looking.
What?
Well, what is that? Oh my god!
This is like the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
Well, let's not get too crazy. This is the country that gave us Mad Max. Just saying.
I mean, yeah, touche.
And also
Look at
poisonous
that.
snakes.
What is it? What is happening? I didn't even know this was a thing.
So I mean,
oh my god! So who? All right, we have 33 people watching now. So
It's-
someone has to be from Australia. I swear. Like,
it's
please.
like a big, what is it, like a cow catcher or something like that? What are
Yeah,
those
they
things
said it
in
was
front
like-
of a?
I feel like with
Said it
this
was
one,
bull bars. He
Yeah.
said in his comment.
Oh,
So
okay.
he said, look up BNS. It's crazy. Truck bull bars and huge exhaust pipes. This is hysterical looking.
So, is this for like shooing away all the wildlife in Australia or something like that, or what?
seeing as how everything in Australia wants to kill you.
Yeah,
It's for
no, that's a good
keeping-
idea.
It's for keeping the chicks away.
Yeah,
You scared all the chicks away with your BNS mini truck.
This feels like the Australian equivalent of truck nuts.
it's just in the front.
This is crazy.
But
Australian Bozozoku is going strong.
yeah, that's
Yes,
a very close
Constantine, it is.
approximation. It's like, what's the opposite of a Japanese Bosozoku car? An Australian
This.
BNS truck.
Yes. Also, Aaron Whitesell, what's up, man? Thank you for joining the stream. I know you've been watching the YouTube channel and contributing on the Facebook page for a long, long time. So appreciate you joining.
Look at that.
I know, that's crazy. Look at those things. Look at that thing.
I mean, it looks like it's Photoshop
Crap.
heavily, right? But
Yeah.
I mean, all those other
I think
cars,
that's real. I don't think that's photoshopped.
no.
I think that's a real thing that actually is in existence.
You know, I mean, if that's like steel, presumably that's like steel, or even if we go to like titanium, that's still so much weight over the front tires. That thing is
Yeah.
like gonna scrape. You're gonna understeer
Yes.
so much.
I was going to say,
going
scraping is
everywhere.
not really in doubt because I'm pretty sure you can't even fit like a $1 bill under this. I don't think understeer is the worry. I think it's, you know, there's something in my way. Well, they're worse off than I am. Pray for
Oh
them.
my god.
Sorry, everybody else.
That's a hilarious thing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh man. So we have Constantine asking, is it true that Yamaha built a V8 for a Volvo? Greg.
Yes. 100%. Yamaha built the 4.4 liter V8 that went in the Volvo S80 at one point, and as well as the Volvo XC90 at one point as well. That engine also was the same engine they used in the V8 supercar series in Australia. So that engine is extremely good. It is definitely good for power. It can take power nicely, but the biggest problem with that engine was the transmission it was mated to, because it was mated to a crap GM transmission, and everyone said it was like, oh, well, these cars have such problems. Like, well, the engine had too much torque and power for that, and it wasn't even a lot. I think it was like 300, around 300-ish horsepower, but the transmission was just garbage. So, I do know people that have those. Do have XC90s actually with like 300,000 or 400,000 miles on them. So the engine's definitely real stout, really reliable, and they have like the original transmissions too. Like, people just, if you don't beat on them, they'll be perfectly fine for you. Adding a trans cooler will help and stuff like that. So it's definitely a good engine. But yeah, Yamaha built that for Volvo. It's a 4.4 liter V8, and it sounds absolutely fantastic with an exhaust attached to it.
We have another one of Greg's. I just picture this guy sitting down, has a nice cup of tea. There's tweed everywhere. Nigel Van Noort is working on an Astra G 2.0 16 valve and he's taking the engine out. Nice.
Nice.
I'm just picturing a Cavalier in my head for Astra, but hey man, I hear those are pretty potent on the other side. So good on you.
Hey, back to that last question regarding the Yamaha engines. It piqued my interest, so I just searched for like other cars that Yamaha had helped develop engines for, and they listed these 5 cars. It's on Car Throttle, but the first one, it's a really impressive list of cars, by the way. The first one is the Lexus LFA, which is pretty amazing. Someone mentioned that earlier. The Toyota Altezza RS200, which is basically the IS300.
That's the RS though that's the Beams 3 SGE. I'd have to double check, but that's the Beams 4-cylinder. It's basically a higher compression version of the straight 4 that they put in all the Corolla drift cars. Crazy good engine. Right. Yamaha did a ton with Toyota. I don't know if it's on your list, but they did the headwork for the 1JZ.
So it's not listed on here, but that's the one thing that I remember, because you always mention 2JZ whenever you get a chance.
1JZ.
Then
That's
there's
great.
the Volvo XC90 V8, which is what was just mentioned.
Yep.
And then the Ford Taurus SHO, or the show.
Yep.
Someone earlier mentioned that they had a 1995, or what excites them the most is a 95 Ford Taurus SHO, which is
That was
okay. More
that
power
was
to
the
them.
Shogun motor. It took
Yeah.
Yamaha took the pushrod V6 and turned it into dual overhead cam with 12 intake runners for managing
It's an
torque.
impressive car, and impressive
Oh yeah.
engine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, also,
Uh,
speaking of the Volvo V8 really quick, just so you know, that engine was also in the Noble M600. So it was a twin turbo
oh
version
wow.
of that engine. Produced like 600 plus horsepower. So the engine's utterly fantastic. It's a really good engine.
And then the last one is the Toyota 2000 GT, which is probably my favorite classic car
Beautiful.
just because it looks so good, and I think it's worth
Oh
millions of
yeah.
dollars at this point.
Yeah, Yamaha
Yeah.
But
does.
anyway, other
Yamaha
engines that
did a
Yamaha worked on.
ton of like, they're contracted out to, because what does a bike engine do? It revs, it flows a ton of air. You size that up or put that on a bigger engine and bigger bangs, horsepower, faster,
Right.
all that sort of fun stuff. We have Daniel Jenkins in chat. He's working on a tribute build for his son Dalton. 1995 Buick Roadmaster sedan LT1 500 horsepower baby boy build. Nice. No one expects the Roadmaster.
That's right. Wagon Gang.
Let's see here. Alex Brennan drives a 2020 LT1 Camaro. She's bad, not much can compete. Ask my Mustang in a few months. And a 1970, this will right up your alley, Greg. 1973 240Z, 120 horsepower at 5,300 RPM, 147 at 37, and it goes all the way up to 7,000 RPM with the torque. It's pretty epic,
Nice.
pretty awesome. Anton commented on the these, saying that they look like the stuff you get in Grand Theft San Andreas, one of those side missions you do in the arenas. 100%.
Absolutely, yes.
Constantine, the 2J has a Yamaha head, direct derivative of the 1J head. There's a lot of I could do a whole episode on the differences between 1J GE, 1J GTE, 2J GE, so on and so forth. There's common misnomers out there that the 1J GTE head, because of the Yamaha connection, flows better than any other head. It's not the case. The GTE head flows the most and stuff like that. But as these guys said, I used to talk their ear off when it came to 2Js and all things 2Js. The JZ motor. It's crazy the type of the differences, how awesome they are, and how over-engineered that whole era was.
Yeah, and like, let's be honest here. I mean, the 2JZ is one of the best engines ever made. Like, any way you slice it, it's engineering's great, block is great, takes power great, crazy reliable in the right application. So I mean, like, it's an all timer for sure. Like, we always everyone always just shits on everybody. Oh, 2JZ the world, whatever, man. Don't be more unique. It's like 2Js are just great engines. Like, they really are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you have a problem, here's a clear solution that's tried and true. You just go with that. So that's why it's so popular. It's just because people know the reliability, and people know what they can expect out of it. So that's
Absolutely. Aaron Whitesell restoring a Volvo 780 Bertone, currently regasketing the B230 FT with the Garrett Turbo. Greg?
Very nice.
Now, if memory serves, the Bertone is very that's very limited, right? There's like only a
correct.
couple hundred.
Yeah, I think in hundreds or maybe like low 1,000. Like, but yeah, they're pretty rare. Those are cool cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Not a lot of people know that Bertone put their hands on Volvo stuff. Because you always know them for like 80s and 90s, not necessarily coach building, but like interior and car massaging here and there. But yeah, it's a cool little Volvo factoid. And B230 FT with a Garrett turbo. Nice. That's gonna rip with a nice big fat turbo on it. And Antoine said, "Did you guys hear about the? Geez, my chat's going nuts. Did you guys hear about the supposed news from Drive.au? Courtesy of Carbuzz, that allegedly the new Mazda 6 rear-wheel drive sounds like it might not be happening. Have not heard that actually. Interesting.
Yeah, I heard about that, and to be honest with you, I'm not surprised, just because no one really cares about. I mean, enthusiasts love sedans. We love rear-wheel drive cars, but what really sells are crossovers and SUVs, and it's funny to hear that news today or yesterday, and then there's also there's a press event going on out right now in California for the new Mazda CX-50. So, as news of the sedan dies, it's like here's another crossover that we're selling. So that's the future of automotive right there. It's just more crossovers.
Also, Hunter, what's up, man? Thanks for joining. I appreciate it. Hunter Carroll in chat.
Hey,
He's been a
Hunter.
long-time
All right.
supporter, long-time commenter, long-time watcher. Appreciate it. And Hunter's also a subscriber, so thank you so much for subscribing. If you guys do want to subscribe and help support the channel, you can go to our Facebook page, and there's a private group that we're like talking to you guys about what you want to hear on stream. It's like $5 a month if you want to support us. It helps us to like do this stream. Basically, it just buys us a cup of coffee every day, which is kind of nice. So if you guys want to do that, that would be great. Go to our Facebook page and just hit the subscribe button. You guys can do that and go support us there. But Hunter has been doing that for a long time, so appreciate that. He says 2JZ the world. I mean, that's what everyone does now, but it's not. Again, it's not a bad thing. Like 2JZ, RB26, LS. These are all great swap options. And then he also followed it up. Constantine had said, "What about the OM606, aka the diesel 2JZ?" And Hunter responded, "OM606 is a great motor with an OM603 fuel system strapped to it." I actually don't know anything about diesel engines, to be quite frank with you. What is? Do either of you guys know what the OM606 is?
I don't know. I just looked it up, but it's a Mercedes-Benz engine. So according to Wikipedia, it's a 3-liter inline 6-cylinder double overhead camshaft with indirect injection, manufactured by Mercedes-Benz between 1993 and 2001.
There's a YouTube series
indirect
somewhere
injection.
on that engine.
I'm
I just
really
can't think
interested
of it
in
at the
what that
moment.
is.
Interesting. So wait, indirect injection, does that mean the fuel spurts out of the engine instead of in it?
It's from the description, it sounds like port injection, where it's like outside of the combustion chamber, and it's not directly injected into the combustion chamber. So anyway, interesting. I'm gonna have to learn about that indirect injection. Anyway, or Hunter, if you know about it, let us know what indirect injection is all about.
Like learning here on the stream too.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Daniel wants to build a 3-rotor.
Yes, do it. The answer is yes. 9,500 RPM. Just do it. Make it scream.
The 20B.
On a related note, I saw pictures of an RX-8 resurface on my news feed the other day. I'm like, Did your
news feed spontaneously break down?
No,
It did.
I thought you
It did.
said you had
The seals had to
two-stroke
replace it, and I had to
fuel
restart
in there,
the
and
app.
it was fine.
Just the sight of RX-8s make everything just break down immediately.
Yeah.
Rotaries. How? Yeah.
Yeah. I seriously thought about getting the RX-8. This is before I knew any better, and they were selling it for cheap. And I mean, the RX-8 looked like nothing else on the road. It had like a special 4-door suicide door for the back, and it looked like a Ferrari. And it had really strange proportions, just because rotary engine, you could it's smaller, you could package it a little bit better.
What was the stock engine? That was a 2-rotor?
Good luck seeing those over 100K.
What was the stock engine?
What's that?
That was a 2-rotor, I think.
I think it's a two rotor 1.3
1.8
liter. I don't know. 1.8. Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
about right.
Oh, here we go.
So,
Hunter, IDI, indirect injection, is just like port injection in a gas engine. Most diesels are direct injected. IDI motors are not. Interesting.
okay,
Cool. Learn something. Did not know that.
okay.
Uh-huh.
So that's funny because like spark initiated engines, which is normal internal combustion engines, normally are port injection, and then now they're just coming out with these GDI direct injection engines, which could do more torque and stuff like that, and have better efficiency,
Yeah.
but also carbon buildup on the valves, which is not a good thing.
Yeah. Not good.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Anton asked,
Yeah, Constantine said the RX-8 rear doors were the coolest thing ever. Yes, totally agree with you.
But a follow-up to that, Antoine asked, did the RX-8 start the 3-door? I don't think so. I
Pickup
want to say there
trucks.
was a Citroen with a 3-door at one point, maybe. I don't know if that's accurate. It could be fake news, but it's a great question. I don't know. Yeah,
Let's look it up. First,
because I know the
three-door
Veloster
car.
had 3 doors after
I gotta
that,
feel like
like the original one. I
Yeah.
think they ditched the 3 doors for the newer one, right? They still have
no,
it.
they still have it. What do you mean the new the three
Yeah,
doors
do they
for the
still have it?
Veloster?
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, it's just that the Veloster killed off all of the other trims, and the Veloster N is the only Veloster
Right, but
you
it
can
still
buy.
has 3 doors. Okay, cool.
Yes. Yeah.
I forgot if they'd killed that or not.
No. So I looked up 3-door cars, and the BMW Isetta is one of the first
No,
ones.
the Isetta is a 1-door
So,
car. It literally opens in the front with the steering wheel. That is that's a 1-door car.
Was the 2CV available in a 3-door? I could not begin to care less. It's the most hateful car ever made. Let's move on.
But Hunter's right. I thought that 2CV had a 3-door.
Yeah.
That had it.
Let's talk Saturn.
Saturn.
Yes, Saturn is
For everyone
yes,
international, also known as
that had a 3-door. Yeah.
Well,
or Vauxhall.
Well, Saturn was actually founded on sound principles of being like the basically GM getting out of its own way and actually making a decent small car, because up until that point GM didn't make good small cars. So they just invented Saturn to kind of totally take a fresh look at it, and then it actually was successful at that for a while, and then they kept incorporating more and more like cost savings to like, oh, if we just make it say a Chevy Cobalt with a different body, no one will know. And then it just if we're making, at that time Chevy was doing the Cobalt, the Saturn Ion, and the Pontiac something irrelevant, all 3 small cars, and it's like, who else builds this 3 of the same exact car? It's pretty nuts.
Well, we can't forget about the Saturn business model, which was the whole no haggle pricing back in the day. So that was like a breath of fresh air, because like you could only buy from dealerships, and then there's all these pricing games and whatnot. But Saturn kind of went with the approach that the price that you see is is what you pay for.
I find Saturn funny in the sense of like, okay, well, when did Saturn come out? Like, what was it? Early 90s? And
yeah,
what was Saturn? A cheap GM product. Well, that was all of GM in the early 90s. Like, oh, so let's make a cheaper GM product. That'll sell. And like, obviously they stick around for a while, but it was like, why? All of your cars are cheap.
Did the dent-free panels?
That goes to Daniel Denkin's comment. Saturn equals Rubbermaid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, I forget who it was, but I had talked to someone that was like a Saturn tech a long time ago. This was like 10, 15 years ago, and he was like, man, those things are put together with rubber bands and chewing gum. They are awful cars. You should never, ever drive one.
Oh, man.
But the, what was it? The Redline series was actually like sneaky fast. And I remember Saturn trying to be a player in the early days of sport compact, like serious drag racing. Obviously, sport compact racing has been going on for forever. Well,
Yep.
yeah. But I remember like
Yeah.
the Saturn Ion was like that. I think they were chasing eights, front wheel drive, or sevens at the time, and the Saturn was
Wow.
like up there, and they were so goofy looking with the big ass bias-plies on the front and the skinnies on the back. But I mean, GM for a minute there tried to go after younger people with these compact cars and stuff, and well, it kind of worked for a bit until they got back in their own way, and such is the nature of GM.
So I just looked up the Saturn Ion Redline article from 2007 from Car and
Yeah.
Driver, and just looking at the specs here, base price $20,490. All right, 0 to 60 time 6 seconds, quarter-mile time 14.6 seconds at 98 miles per
That's
hour.
actually not bad.
205 supercharged horses. So that's really interesting. Supercharged car for $20,000 in 2007. Um, wow.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest, it really isn't.
Yeah, yeah, that's really not a bad price.
Yeah, it was the same platform as the
at that
Cobalt
time.
SS.
Yeah.
Cobalt SS
No,
was
those
pretty cool too.
Factory supercharged sport compacts always are kind of cool because it's the exact wrong thing to do. Like turbocharging's arguably better for the smaller engines just because of the torque required to spin a supercharger and smaller displacement, yada yada yada. But the fact that they're slapping a supercharger on it it's really I thought that was really cool. That actually brings me to another point, and then there's someone else in here. There's a couple comments I want to get to with this, but when I had my IS, I actually initially wanted to supercharge it because supercharge a 2J, nobody does that, you know what I mean? I thought it would be interesting and different. And then that brings us back to the 2J conversation with John Augustine, who had a 94 Supra, 880 horsepower, and he just sold his 87 Skyline GTS-T, the rear-wheel drive model, and it just sold. Bad move on missed the Supras. Bad move on my part. Yeah, hindsight 2020. Like we were talking about Greg's Vantage earlier. That thing probably would fetch him another 10 to 15 grand more than he sold it for back in the day. But if we knew that stuff, we'd have a garage by now.
Probably, yeah.
Let's see here. Constantine's with there's an OM606 Swapped M4 Supra on YouTube. I think I started seeing that. Like I said, I know there's that Mercedes Diesel
That's super
6
cool.
on YouTube somewhere. I just couldn't remember where it was.
If I were to get a Mark IV Super and swap it, that's what I would do because I think it would just like piss off every purist to throw a sick diesel engine in there
Cummins swap.
and then just make it a total torque monster and destroy everyone at Race Wars. I think that would be awesome to do.
I'd actually just put in a built one UZ in there because the SC400 and the Supra share platform. Just the SC is longer, so you could get a 1UZ subframe with mounts and everything pretty easily. Those motors work the heads, fortify the bottom end, and you're making really cool horsepower. And they're lighter than the 2J, which, as we all know, is a highly powerful boat anchor. So, Jacob Wells S1 Sportback in Australia. Did they come to the States? No idea what car that was.
That's an Audi, I think. No, they did not. But we don't have anything in the States that's an S1 Sportback.
Yeah, we don't get a lot of Sportback. Well, I guess that's a hatch, but yeah, we don't get a lot of those fun cars from Europe or Australia here. Like we don't see a lot of Holdens. We don't have any Renaults.
Thank God.
I think I like the look of their cars. It would be cool to have them here.
Look up the Le Car.
Le car.
The Ferrari.
Let's see. Antoine said GM hurt themselves in more ways than one because when Pontiac was still around, cars like the GTO, G5, G6, G8, and the Solstice was their renaissance before GM killed Pontiac off, which everyone knows was the dumbest decision GM has ever done. Yeah, they it was tough killing off the Pontiac brand because yeah, the GTO was awesome. G5 and G6 I don't really care about. G6 I think that was the Oprah car, so Oprah gave away like, and then the G8 was the replacement for the GTO, and then the Solstice was like the Miata competitor. I really liked that car a lot because it had a turboed engine and it looked nice. It looked like nothing else that Pontiac has ever built, or a GM product has built. But yeah, that was a tough call. That was like a pretty tough time for GM. The auto bailout thing, and they had to kill off a couple of brands. GM and then Cadillac, and then I think one other brand survived that. But yeah, a lot of the other car brands got the axe. But GTO, G8, and Solstice, yeah, those were really cool
Done
Pontiac
by other
cars.
brands. Well, I think the G5 and the G6 were American based, but the what the heck, the Solstice was an Opel, and obviously the GTO and G8 were Holden creations. But
Yeah.
let's see here. Hunter suggests the 1GZ, like those genius Japanese folks. That's an engine I want to play with. I just haven't found a build I want to, a chassis, so to speak, that I'd put it in. But those V12s out of the Century are nuts. And there's some,
I was gonna say, is that the V12?
yeah, and like, it's probably the cheapest V12 swap option out there, but to get like,
No way. No way. The V12 of the S600 from Mercedes definitely would be cheaper, I would imagine, because they made those here, and the Crown motors they never had them here. So to like actually get one and get it like homologated to U.S. stuff, I don't even know if that's like possible.
well, you don't have to homologate it. It just can't have,
Well, not homologated, but like up to like U.S. code.
you know, perhaps, but they were nobody knew anything about them until very recently. So you could just, they're like, well, it's here, take it, please.
Yeah.
Like they're playing with them in Australia and places like that, but not really over here. But
I just want the V12 out of the S600 because that's his Zonda engine, which is cool.
That's cool.
in the same way you're a
John
racing driver.
Augustine, John Augustine, I think has the best garage in chat, and out of all of us,
Yeah,
got a
I'm
21
gonna have to agree.
Hellcat Red Eye, sick car. We have a review on that. We have a '06 Bentley Continental GT and a 20 Avalon TRD. Like that's a really good garage. You have super reliable
Yeah.
Toyota, great daily. Bentley Continental GT is your GT sports cruiser, and then Hellcat Red Eye is your just like savage brute of a car. Like that's a sick
That is
garage.
a
I would be
multinational
very okay
garage.
trading my garage for that.
That is covering
Yeah.
3 continents.
That's
Yeah.
Great
Yeah, really good
choice.
choices.
Let us know what kind of trim is on the Hellcat Red Eye and what color.
Yeah.
I've been eyeing one of those cars. I actually saw one on the other. I saw a wide body version of that the other day, and it looked really good.
Yeah, the wide bodies of those are sweet.
Yeah. W12 out of the Phaeton. Man, what a weird car.
Yeah.
Right?
That's such a weird car.
Like Volkswagen built that. Can you believe that Volkswagen actually built something?
Well, here's the
Yeah.
crazy thing. It's like, all right, people love our VR6. What's better than one VR6? Let's put them together.
The craziest thing, like that's not even the least reliable VW. Like you think these like crazy weird VW. They made the W8 Passat wagon, and that thing is just an absolute shit show. That like that you see them all the time on like Cars and Bids now, and Cars and Bids and like what's the other one? Bring a Trailer, and man, all in the comments like such a cool car, but you shouldn't own this thing. Like it is, they are ruinously expensive to fix, and they just do not have good reliability at all. Super cool car, super cool motor, but yeah, don't ever buy that.
Oh boy, that's a big comment.
Yeah. So yeah, Antoine said the one car I wish Ford would have brought to the U.S. that would have given Chevy a run for their money, with the SS sedan, courtesy of Holden, was Australia's Ford Falcon. Australia had a short-lived Ford Falcon XR8 that was V8 and had a manual transmission. That would have been a dope sell for the US for a good 4 to 5 years. Yeah, that would have been really cool.
I would have preferred
Um,
XR6 Barra. We need more straight sixes here, and that Barra is a legend.
so devil's advocate, that probably would have cannibalized some of the Ford Mustang sales, and
Yeah.
that even though Ford Mustang is just two doors, um, four-door sedans, I think it's like falling out of favor with the U.S. market. So it would have been tough, but yeah, if the Ford Falcon came to the U.S., those two cars would have been on the cover of Car and Driver, Motor Trend.
Well, here's the question:
Yeah.
we have the case study.
That would have
Did
been a great comparison.
Chevy SS sales cannibalize Camaro sales?
That's a good question.
I don't think so, because it was in a different category, but
Because and here's the crazy thing: they shared the Alpha platform.
right now. Yeah, which one of those is dead right now is my question.
Right. Well, that's exactly it. Like
Yeah.
the high performance sedan Ford variant would have been probably dead as along with it because
Yeah.
America, we don't really make performance sedans anymore here. Like
No. Also, changing the topic, John. I wish I could send you pictures. Hellcat red eye wide body, yes. White with black painted hood, yes.
Nice.
That's a sick color combo.
Oh, yes.
Very nice. You can send us pictures. You can actually just DM them to us if you want on our Facebook page, or you can join one of our two groups. The one I mentioned previously in the stream, which is just a supporters group, which is just like a private couple of people to support us. It's $5 a month, whatever. Or you can join our other group. It's called Shift Posting, and you literally just search Shift Posting on Facebook. It's on there, or you can go to the group section in our Facebook page and go on there and post your stuff up. So you can send it in one of those three places, DM or one of our two groups, and we'll feature it on like the next stream if we wanted to. And speaking of that, actually, we do have someone that tuned in last week or a week before that he sent us like a video of his car, which is actually pretty sick. It was really cool. It is a built GTR. So, if you guys want to like be in the comments and chime in and show us like your cool cars, we'll show them on stream and we'll talk about them. So this was from a guy named Sean. This is an Alpha 12 build with over 1,000 horsepower. So I think it's like 1056 horsepower and this crazy wrap.
Wow.
And I actually asked him what is on the wheels, because it's in another language and it's apparently in French. And it means my ex is a slut. It's very, very funny to me, and I think that's hilarious. You put that on a sticker on your wheels. That's great. But this thing is super cool, and obviously from the video you're looking at, like it shoots fireballs at the back, which is just badass.
Yeah.
well,
So that looks pretty crazy. So Gregson, you had wrapped your Aston Martin
Yes.
when you had it. What was that process like? Let us know, you don't have to tell us the cost or anything like that. Just give us some ballpark figures, but also how long did it take for them to wrap the car, and what was the quality?
Yeah.
So on and so forth.
Like it depends. Like cost can run anywhere from $1,500 all the way up to like 10 grand, because it's all dependent on material you use, size of the vehicle. Like you're wrapping a Suburban, it's going to be like $7,000-8,000 just because of material and labor cost, even though like it's not an exciting car. Whereas like a Huracan, very exciting car, may only be $4,000 or $5,000 because less material, still an intricate kind of thing, like lots of angles and corners and not a ton of flat pieces. But it just depends. So like a GTR, I mean, these are pretty commonly wrapped. They're easy to take apart. You can probably get that wrap done for between $3,000 and $4,000. I think the Aston wrap costs around I want to say like 3,000, 3,500. But it sounds like a lot of money, but it actually isn't. If you figure or think about what the wrap is, it's not like a ton of money, because you're basically, if depending on what wrap you get, not the real thin kind of satin wraps or sateen wraps. Those are a little bit, they have like less material to them. But if you get the big glossy ones, they're a bit thicker. It's like putting PPF on your car a little bit, paint protection film. So you do get a little bit of paint protection on top of it, just changing the color of your car and being a cool different differentiation of what you want. So it's a neat thing, and you can print out all of these graphics. Like this car is super cool because I guarantee you they like custom made the vinyl and then just laid it down. Like they did it 3D in graphic design, either in like an InDesign program or Photoshop program, printed it all out, and then boom, just put it right on the car, which is really cool. Yeah,
That's crazy. And how
yeah,
did you do it again?
Because it's a great way to like change the color of your car or change the way your car looks and the way you'd want to make your car on the cheap or relative cheap. Because like a good paint job, not OEM, like better than OEM, like a good paint job could run you $7, $8, $9, $10,000. Not this like Mako stuff. So if you go to like an actual real place, it'll cost you like a good amount of money to get your car painted. Mako, like everyone says the $500 Mako paint job, and that still exists. But Mako actually does like good paint too. Like you can get a $3,000 paint job from Mako with like 2 coats of regular paint, a coat of clear, and everything like that. So it really depends on your preference. Wrapping is a great way to change your car a couple of times without having to pay for a new paint job. But I would do it again. I'm probably going to end up wrapping my Polestar
in gloss black.
Cool. Yeah, because it's consistent too, right? Like,
duh.
Like a wrap is pretty consistent, right? Like the quality is like the same. Whereas if someone were to paint the car, it really depends on like the equipment and the skill of the painter. Because you could get like some weird effects.
In the same respect,
different thicknesses
it happens
too.
with wrap too. You go to a really crappy wrap job or a wrap shop, you're not going to get a good job. But if you go to a well-renowned wrap shop, you're going to have a very well done piece. And the details will be in how they're wrapped around the panels, how they're secured. If they're doing paint protection film, are they doing it how the OEM does? Like at the end of a panel, you can kind of see that little edge. Or have they gone to the extra mile and wrapped it around that edge? So you can tell what good shops are. And like, it's not as intricate as paintwork, no, but there are definitely shops that are just not good, and you can kind of tell that it's just been, because there'll be bubbles in it, it won't be lined up. They'll use like knifeless tape, which is the tape you lay down, and then you put the wrap on top, and then you just peel the tape back, and it kind of cuts it from the inside, and then you just wrap it down. Like people wrap over the knifeless tape and then just don't do it and leave it there. So like I've actually seen that happen, and it's not great. So there is a lot of skill involved in it as well.
Real quick, we have shots fired in the chat. John Augustine disagrees and says his son has a better garage right now. We have a 21 A91 Supra blue, Focus RS blue,
nice
87 Skyline also blue, but Bayside blue this time.
Bayside blue.
And a 22 4Runner.
Yeah.
Dang. That's
all right. So your son wins that battle. Sorry. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, a BMW, a Ford, and a Nissan. It's multinational again.
Oh, yeah, 4 shots fired. BMW, he says.
But
yeah, no, that's the Supra, man. I love those cars. We got a chance to drive those cars, and they can make a ton of power. You see like a lot of those cars making like over 1,000 horsepower now, and we thought that it was over when the 2JZ is no longer here, and the B58 has seemed to have taken over that 1,000 horsepower mantle for the Supras.
They're doing that on stock internals.
Pretty cool. That's a pretty cool.
Are they doing
garage.
that on stock internals?
What's that?
Or are they built motors?
I believe.
Because I know Papadakis Racing did the first 1,000 horsepower build, and he had to do crank rods, pistons, the whole nine. So that's. But I mean, here's the bottom line: any engine on stock internals that's turning 1,000 horsepower that's not supposed to isn't going to do it for long. There's a trade-off: power, reliability.
Of course.
So, and 1,000 horsepower for the street is just moronic, especially in a chassis that didn't come prepared for it. We're talking roll cages and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see here. Let's catch up on some chat real quick. Daniel Jenkins, any Shifting Lanes hats? I actually replied to you with a link, so if you like it, thanks for supporting the brand. Joshua Allen
Sweet.
has a 2017 Mark 7 GTI. That is peak GTI in my personal opinion, so awesome. Good on you.
Yeah. That's let us know if that's the 2-door or the 4-door. I think they're still making the 2-door at that point with 2017.
We got Bella Rosa Linda here. Hello all, happy Monday. Thanks for watching. Yeah.
Happy
only 4
Monday.
days to go. Bella also has a 2007 Range Rover Sport. Awesome vehicle. Nice to
That's pretty cool.
do everything type of thing, and V8 noises, and never a bad thing.
Wow. That's a pretty impressive garage right there. 2007 Range Rover Sport, 2008 750 Li BMW, 2005 Mercedes-Benz E350. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a good garage for sure.
Yeah.
We got Marilyn Cooper. Hello from New Zealand. Thank you for watching. I couldn't even begin to tell you what time it is there.
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't know if you're early rising, so good morning, or if it's the dead of night.
Yeah. Might be 8 o'clock right now over there. 8 o'clock in the morning.
Well, we had the
8,
one
9, or
Australian.
Let us know, Marilyn.
We had the one Australian who was in math class, so I'm guessing the morning at school.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Daniel from Ohio.
Ohio.
How you doing?
What's up, Daniel?
Bella worked for Land Rover and got it for $1,500. That's wow. Well done. Absolutely well done.
That's great.
Here. Hunter says the 911s are pumping out 1,000 with no internal mods. It's insane.
That's crazy.
Got Peter with a Kazi Escort.
That's a death wish right there. Rear wheel drive, rear engine, 1,000 horsepower 911. Too crazy.
They
Yeah,
got
I
that
can't even
fixed.
imagine that because I don't even fathom what 1,000 horsepower 911 is, because the Turbo S produces what, 650, 700, and does 0 to 60 in 2.6 seconds. So I cannot even understand what 1,000 horsepower 911 would do.
Amazing
That's
things.
crazy. Marilyn Cooper. It's 2 p.m. 2 p.m. in New Zealand. What's up? Oh, that's cool.
Good afternoon. Hope you enjoyed your
Good
lunch.
afternoon.
Oh,
It's Beach Car. Let's see here. But back to Peter. He's got a 92 Escort Kazi. Nice.
Nice.
I would absolutely
and 5-year
nice.
follower. Thanks for following, Peter. Appreciate it.
Nice. Would love to
Sweet.
play with a Kazi. Those were like when I first got into rallying. That was the Group A car. I was like, wow, we don't have anything like that, and we didn't until basically the Focus RS came by. So absolutely amazing. Definitely something I'd like to play with down the road.
that kind of brings up a question. Actually, I'm interested to see what your guys' answers are. We obviously we have a lot of folks here that are from outside the United States, and they're listing some pretty impressive,
Including Ohio.
international cars. What are some cars that you wish were sold in the United States?
Every RS6 wagon previous to this one. Literally all of them.
That's a good one.
Because one of them came with a V10. And that's awesome.
Turbos. And turbos. The twin
And
turbo
turbos.
V10
Yeah.
factory.
So, yeah, if that was a real
That's
thing
insane.
here, I probably wouldn't have a V60 Polestar. I would have that.
Uh-oh. You can't say... How
about you, Chad?
Let me think. I have to think about this one for a second.
Oh, also RS4s.
The fast forwards, the Kazi's high up there. The Sierra even. which is effectively a Cosworth with a sedan body and rear-wheel drive. There's a lot of little things like, man, it's actually tougher than I actually thought. You know, Hunter RS2 wagon, basically an Audi Porsche mashup. You know, real the hottest version of everything, right? So like, there's a lot of course now it's escaping me, but there's a lot of you know, top trim levels. Like for the longest time in my life, all I wanted was a Focus RS because at the time I had a Focus ZX3, and that was like peak Focus, you know, as a kid and all that stuff. So like, you know, I remember seeing the one with a turbo engine, 220 horsepower, front wheel drive, and being like, man, I wish that came over here. It was part of the inspiration for the Focus was the first car I modded, so that was definitely one of them. I always liked Capris from over in England. They were kind of the English Mustang. You know, straight six noises, all that sort of fun stuff. Antoine mentioned it before. I would love for the Falcons to come over here just so we had easier access to play with Barras. You know, just that engine is a legend everywhere else. You know, you see some in the States, but there's really... It's an Australian motor, so it really doesn't go much further than Australia. So they're pretty pricey if you want to do anything with them. I don't know, man. Like, it's a tricky question. I'd have to sit down and think about it. It's hard. I'm unifocused, so like right now, all I can think about is how close I am to acquiring all the parts for the Mustang and the boost build. So like, and I'm like right at the. I think I have a shifter. Or a remote shifter relocation / short throw to go, the new thermostat, and a drive shaft to go before she goes off to the shop, gets the transmission out. We send that out to get built and everything like that. Like, it's really hard for me to look past. I mean, let me see if I can find it, but like the little things that get you excited about it. So you think the supercharger would be like the most impressive thing about the parts for the Mustang, but it was actually the clutch. Like, and the only reason I say that is because I sent you guys the pictures and stuff. I see if I can find them real quick. But like, we have Australians and people from New Zealand here, so you know Mantic Clutch very, very well. I didn't know them. I just knew that they were recommended by the person who's going to be building my car and things like that. Like, and it comes in a case that I can only describe as like a high-end case that you'd expect to see random other stuff in.
Like,
I expected to like, oh, okay, like there's some like that's eventually what it's going to be, and I'm just trying to quickly scroll through and find it. It's up. I reached the limit of the loading, but like, in any rate, like just seeing that, touching the flywheel, all that other. Here we go. Let me just pause this real quick, but like seeing that with, you know,
there we go.
This case was so legit that I'm so stoked for that car and what's coming. Twin discs, right? So,
that's so cool.
Metallic. That clutch, I'll be doing all breakdown, all these parts later this summer because it's substantial. Like, when we go to the shop to drop the Mustang off, it's going to look like that scene from Fast and Furious where like ratchet straps are holding all the parts. It's just, you know, right now I have like the Volvo is being used as a parts van to take everything from where my parts ship to the shop to our workshop just for storage because there's just so much of it. I can't keep it at home or even in my office at work. Let's see here. Let's see if I can catch up.
So while you're pulling that up, quickly share because it was my question, so I have the right to answer.
This is America?
No, we answered. We're good.
Next topic.
Muting Hansen.
I wish that I wish that they brought all the cars that were available in Japan in the 1990s, made available here in the United States,
That's a good
because
one.
they had some really cool rivalries going on over there. They had some, crazy like gentleman's agreement about like no car should make over 276 or 286 horsepower. So they had like Evos, WRXs, like GTRs. So like all those cars, I wish that they were available here in the States in the 90s. Of course, with the 25-year ban, you could start to import a lot of the GTRs now. So we're a couple of years away from getting the R34 GTR. So hopefully we'll be able to
Yeah.
get one of those.
And
Yeah.
Europe
Near
just
future.
killed the R35 because it's too loud. Dead serious.
I did see
Yeah, I
that.
saw that. That is
That's
that is
very sad.
hysterically. I mean, more than likely, Europe is going to be. I don't know what the best way to have a higher like. Europe is probably going to be the first continent or area to go over 50% EV. Just
Yeah.
the way they're trending. So that's sad, but not altogether
Well, it makes
surprising.
it makes sense for the EU to do that because it's way smaller per country.
Well,
So,
there's just
like,
less space in cities and stuff like that. Like
right. It makes
Yeah.
sense for EU to go EV. Like, I get that. Like, a place in the the US going EV, that will be one of the last, just because just from surface area, like it's a large country and we have to get places.
well, when you
So
consider
I get that, plus
50%,
the mentality.
when you consider actually, before I get to that, John Augustine has become a supporter. Thank you so much, man. We certainly appreciate you.
Awesome.
John, good
Thank you,
on you.
John.
Appreciate
Appreciate
you. That is awesome,
All right.
guys. And like Greg said, becoming a supporter, you get access to different groups, get access to conversations with us and stuff outside of the stream and things like that. And it helps us out, helps us with, I'm gonna have a fairly binge drinking vehicle come winter time, and gas prices are high, so every little bit,
Speaking of,
yeah, it's gonna consume slightly faster than that. But like, you consider the United States, 50% of the population's on the coasts, right? And the interior has the other 50%. So like, the interior is going to be slow to adopt. The coasts, I think, are going to be pretty quick, but the interior is going to be pretty slow to adopt and everything like that. Real quick, while we're on the topic of cars that we wish came over here, Anton, who's not a hatchback fan but wishes the Fiesta ST and new Focus ST came here. I agree with you. We got the Giulia Quadrifoglio, but not the manual. Once again, you're right on the money.
Julia.
Wow, that was the worst pronunciation.
Quadrifoglio?
Yeah. The Julia Quattrofingero.
The Giulia Quadrifoglio.
Julia Quattro Fingers.
4 of something.
Her name's gonna be Julia Gulia.
Your name's gonna be Julia Julia.
I think you have to get you have to get
that.
one of those and call it, Gulia. But I agree.
Oh, yes, you have to get a Julia Quadrifoglio, and the plate just has to be Gulia. That would be awesome.
Yes,
I would do
perfect.
Perfect.
that. I don't like vanity plates, but I would do that.
It's clever, right?
Yeah, I like it.
And we also have Bella commenting. She goes, she learns from us. We're sorry. And then have girl talk with her texts. Nice. I love that. I really do love that.
Oh, that's
Awesome.
We have Hunter going here with like right-hand drive FD RX-7s and R32 and 33s. Yes, I did see that news about them being imported illegally. I think it was like something like 400 cars. And the really, really sad thing about that is they're all, I think, going to be crushed. So someone's an idiot, and now
that
there's going to be
sucks.
400 of these classic JDM cars less out there in the world because people are greedy. I think they should crush the importer and keep the cars, but
Yeah, I agree with that.
we have Daniel Jenkins asking, number one dream car stock build you wish you could have. I don't know if you guys understood the question, but what do you mean by stock? Because I don't really do that. But I guess, well, before he answers, so we'll kind of modify it, and hopefully it's the question he asked. number one car you could buy right now with absolutely no intention of modifying it. We'll start with Hansen.
Oh man.
Well, oh shoot. Well, it. What do I guess I have to ask myself, what do I look for in a car? Has to be raw. It has to sound great. Um, it's going to be my daily driver, so it's got to be pretty reliable. Um, I think I have the car.
The Hyundai Tucson?
It's the Veloster
Is this
N,
a car
because,
you own, perchance?
because I went through that thought process. I was like, okay, it's sounds crazy, fairly reliable, and yeah, no. It's,
So you have to
you know,
take the
it was
cold air
wrong.
intake out of it,
He's
though.
already modded this car, so he's also a liar.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He's Hansen, but he's also a liar.
You know what? Okay, forgot that portion of the question, so I'll take it back.
You're fake
But
news.
R35 GTR.
R35. Okay. Now we're
R35
getting
GTR
up there.
because
Now
that's
we're getting up
also
there.
crazy, and I would not want to mod that because you know, like dual clutch, all-wheel drive, and tons of power already. I think that's good out of the box
Okay.
like that.
Greg, I'm guessing a wagon.
Totally
Go.
No, it's not. Like, if it's gonna be a car that I don't mod, I don't think that exists in my brain. Because everything's moddable. I mean, daily driven exotics twin turbo to Ferrari F12. Not meant to
Top
not
mount.
meant to do that. No, none of those were meant to be twin turbo, but they did. Like, that's the kind of stuff. If I had
Aaron
like, really
Kaufman
no object,
of
that's the
Gas
kind of
Monkey
stuff I would
Garage
do.
fame did the initial build too. That's really cool.
Right. Yeah, like I would do that. Like, that would be cool. But if I'm just gonna like buy something for like pure driving enjoyment, it would probably be like some kind of sports car, because sports cars are more enthusiast based and they're already like, you know, towards the peak performance kind of thing. It would probably be some kind of like Lotus, I would imagine, either an Evora or maybe even like an Exige like 380, because they're already like very like track focused. They're like raw cars. Like what Hans was saying, like cars that are already like at like the 9/10 or 10/10 sort of
Camry
level.
power.
but like, but you like, but you're right. Like, they modded that from. They took a V6 Camry, they slapped an Edelbrock supercharger on it. Like, well, what else do you really need to do?
It still makes no
Like,
sense to me.
there's
British car
not really
company.
much you could-
British car company, Japanese engine, American maker of powerful things.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's a great melting pot of the automotive community. But like, but something like that, like, or either that or like a classic, like an E30 M3, you know, something like that. Those are the kind of cars that I would just buy and like not mod. If it has to be like something modern, that's like brand new, if I could pony up the cash for an RS6 or an E63 AMG wagon, again, like go back to your point of wagons, like those don't need to be modded. They're fast, they're super cool,
Yeah.
they are beautiful, and they really pretty much do everything. Like, you don't need to mod those. Like, those would be probably my answers to that.
Yeah, you know, that's a fairly classic Greg answer. Like we said, some form of
Yep.
fast wagon.
Yep.
Just
It
real-
always comes back to the wagon.
Real quick.
Also, Kenneth, what's up? Thanks for joining. Appreciate you tuning in again.
Hey Ken, what's going on?
For me, it would be either some form of probably an ACR Viper, or
Yes.
a AMG GT S, not the R, because the R went to a flat plane crank and it took some of the guttural raw deep sound out of it. The S sounds epic. I've had the good fortune of driving that both on the street and on the track, and it is an amazing car, putting its power down, handling everything. I mean, it ate up the track with me as a driver, so it's just an amazing machine. The Viper, because, well, some point in the next 2-ish years, I hope to own a Viper. That's the goal. I've always loved Vipers. That was the prototypical, that was the stereotypical poster car for me. You know, I had a picture of a first gen GTS, which is technically a second gen Viper. Don't get me on the generation nomenclature of Viper because it's extremely confusing, and we'll lose the 15 viewers that are left. Arthur agrees with me on the Viper because, yes. We have Arthur with a Celica All-Track. And Jose asks us, thoughts on E30s? Would you drive it as a daily?
No.
No, I don't really trust old BMWs.
Would I if I had a lot of money? Yes.
I mean,
Would I if that was my only car?
That's pre
No.
Vanos BMW though. I actually, if I had the repair budget and the ability to kind of like upkeep it, I think it's I've heard that it's a fairly easy car to upkeep compared to the newer BMWs. So you see a lot of drifters drive E30s. It's a fairly
it's kind of
small,
the S
compact
chassis
car
of Europe.
and, like, pretty
it
easy
feels
to
like,
use.
Yeah.
like the S chassis. Meaning the S13s, S14s, S15s.
I think that my only reservation of like driving that is that if it's a really good condition, then it's probably worth more just to let it sit. It's like I'm all about driving your cars and stuff, but I feel like that has been driven.
Yeah.
And at this point, it's going to appreciate.
Yeah, but see, like for me, like I would not buy cars like that because I want to drive the cars. Like I'm very much have the DDE mentality of just like, again, if money was no object, like I would be buying supercars and old classic cool cars and driving them. Like Ferrari 250 GTOs aside, like that I think is universally agreed upon that it's like, okay, well you just don't drive that.
It's basically art.
Exactly.
Not from an
there's certain
aesthetic
cars that are
standpoint,
just
but like art. You just hang it on the wall, look at it, and then eventually sell it, profit.
Yeah, 100%. That's like an art piece. But like old M3s, first gen Ford GT40s, from like the 60s, like that. Like I would want to drive those. I would not want them to just sit. I would actually like enjoy. If I like, again, if I had millions and millions of dollars and I buy these things, I would drive them and enjoy them. Like I'm not the kind of person that would just let a car sit because, I want to keep the mileage down. I don't buy a car for the next guy. I buy a car for me.
Yeah, no.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Full stop.
Would I E30? If you guys haven't picked up by now, it might actually make for a good game down the road as far as the stream. Just throw a car out there and see where my brain immediately goes. But like stock E30. Even like the 325. I mean, obviously the E30 M3 is epic, but like, there's a lot of crazy things. Is that the M3 was wider, but it was very similar handling wise to the 325. It just has the box fenders, which is glorious. But my first thought when I think E30 M3 is let's get a pissed off K motor. Let's naturally aspirate it up, or keep it naturally aspirated, up the compression to 12.5 ITBs, long tube headers, 360-ish horsepower and a 9,000 RPM redline. It's small, it's light. That's the perfect amount of power for it, and you can enjoy the crap out of it on the back roads. Would it be the best daily driver? Probably not, just because of high RPM, all that other sort of stuff. But that's immediately where my head goes when we're talking E30 and stuff. It's like it's a lightweight chassis. They're fairly common. They were sold a ton, I think, because of just the nature of that and the yuppie crowd, I believe. But like that's why I said it's like the S chassis from Nissan, right? It's like what engine hasn't got them? You see LSs, you've seen 2Js, you've seen, angry BMW motors. You've seen, I think someone put like the S, whatever it is, V10 in one. It's just, they're very moddable. There's a huge aftermarket. It's just, let's get as much of the BMW kind of off to the side. And I know Greg has a point, so I'm going to keep talking just to frustrate him a little bit further.
I have another point too.
I have to stop everyone and just say that Daniel Jenkins has 7 kids. So, I mean, I have 2, and I have absolutely no idea how you do what you do. So, cool on the zone defense. Very nice. How? Also, good job. But you need.
Well, you see, Greg, when a man loves a woman.
And the Suburbans.
Hey, can we get back to the E30 for a second?
Yes.
Because I'm pretty sure I know of someone who dailies that, or maybe used to work on it a lot. Is our friend Adam Nonis.
Yes.
So if you haven't heard of him yet, he basically took um, BMW E30 and then he put a Volvo 122 wagon basically on top of it. If you guys haven't seen this in chat, if you could kind of link this video, but basically he combined a Volvo and a BMW in the best way possible.
Yeah.
So this car just looks so
It's
insane.
so
It's a
cool.
122
It's
wagon.
so cool.
It's got yeah, he found that basically the kind of like the firewall and like the interior, and I think the wheelbase too of an E30 matches up to the 122 wagon, and it's crazy
Yeah.
craftsmanship. The attention of detail is really nice. Um, but yeah, he did
It's a
a lot of
random
work to that
F-14
car, and
flies
yeah,
over.
there's a BMW E30 in there. Yeah. So that's in
Yep.
IPD. So IPD is a provider of aftermarket components for Volvos, and this is during their garage
Oh, look at
sale,
that
which
thing.
is happening, I think, in May.
Yep. May
So
21st.
I went out there and then just kind of like documented the event, and then ran into Adam Nonis here, and he had probably the craziest car there, this 122 wagon.
That's a dream car for me right there.
But yeah, his yeah, right, wagon,
Yep.
fast wagon.
I would love that with like a real, like just a light NA build on an LS, like 450, 500 horsepower,
So,
NA, just
yeah, just a
dumped exhaust, straight pipe headers. That would be
cam
so cool.
cammed LS3. That's
Cammed LS, yeah, I think
You
like
know,
a cammed LS3 would just be so cool in that.
yeah, like this. I love this concept, right? When someone sits here and figures out, like, wait a tick, I could throw that on this, and then I mean, it's even bit cooler. Like we talk about the B is for build R69, which is a 34 body on a 35 chassis. We talk about how cool that is because you get the old school looks with modern amenities. Now, obviously, the Amazon's older than the 3 class, the E30 here, but like I love this concept of taking something and making it unique and different, and because the E30, because it's so customizable, because of all that sort of stuff, this he has his choice of any engine he wants to put in here. Should he decide to engine swap it or anything, the suspension mods, all this other sort of stuff, like, just, it's so cool to do these body swaps. I love the ideas of them. I'd love to play around with, like, figure out like what wheelbase like a Datsun 510 coupe body would fit on, and do that, like, even if it would
Probably an E30.
I'm probably I've done some preliminary math on, like, Mazda or Miata chassis, NA, NB, that sort of a thing and stuff, that, like, it would be fantastic because, again, crazy aftermarket, any engine you kind of want, up to an LS. We've seen Flying Miata do that, or whoever. I love this concept, and the fact that he did it he's a legend. He's an absolute legend. It is a bad $sign wagon, absolutely, Daniel.
It is.
Yeah.
You can say it. It's a
And
bad.
I know.
yeah. We're looking at the interior right now, and just like the quality of that is just amazing.
Yeah.
You walk up to that and you look inside and you're like, this is the way the car
With
was
naked
supposed
carbon
to be
fiber
built.
door sills, love
And you find out that
it.
it's
Door guards,
Yeah.
love it.
yeah. And then you find out it's like, oh, it's actually two cars
Grafted
in one.
together. Yeah, it's sick.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
I've propositioned him
Yeah.
many times to buy that wagon. He will not sell that. It's like, so how many kidneys would you like? I have 2.
Well, I'm sure
I
there's
probably can't give you
How many
both
do
of them, but I can find others.
yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah, it's super cool.
just that's something like that. Like, you put that blood, sweat, and tears into that build, and that level of craftsmanship, and that overall level of just attention to detail, like I don't think you could give that up. Like it's got to be so hard to like just let something like that go, because it's basically like one step below children, right? It's like kids can't really give those up. This car, it would have to be a dump truck of money. Like, you know, every car has a price, but like at a certain point, it's like, you know, is this worth $250,000? No, but I'm guaranteeing you he'll probably sell it for that amount.
Yeah, if you show up with a couple $100,000, he'd be like, yeah, give me that. I'll just make another one.
Maybe. Now, this part, I do remember him sharing about kind of like the mechanism that he had to build for the hood, just because the way it kind of latched up was, was not
Right, but I think
stock.
the E30's hood's open that way.
So he
created
had
his
to
own
make his own
system,
hinges
right?
and stuff. Yeah,
That's so cool. Like, look at that.
so
that has to
Thinks about how to engineer
apply.
that.
Has to appeal to the engineer in you, Hansen. It has to.
Oh, absolutely.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so this is
Look at that tiniest little engine in there.
So yeah, if I had that as if I had that,
so back to the question at
I would
hand.
deal with it all the time.
Yeah.
Amazing, awesome stuff. But it's just real quick. We have Bella's a big fan of the M3 with a Laguna blue white interior, or Laguna blue with a white interior.
Good one.
The M3s are great cars. Just don't buy them with more than 100,000 miles on it. Don't ask me why. Stephen Campbell, Z88 Z31 Turbo 5-speed full build, has been a daily driver since I bought it in '94. That is awesome.
Nice.
You know, I mean, I was 11, so good on you. Let's see here. Daniel commenting on the wagon we were just looking at. Or no, now with the old LT1 versus the new LT1, just because I'm old school. The LT series of engines are old school, so push rod power. Todd with his friend had an RX-7 that was one car and became two cars. Bit of the opposite of this guy, but I still wonder how she split her frame. Whoa. Well, here's a fun.
Yeah. How do you?
Here's a fun story about specifically the FD RX-7. So you know the RX-7. You know the first one basically looked like an old Triumph because that's what it was inspired by. The second one looked like a Porsche 944, and well, shouldn't say looked like, it was almost a scaled down version of the 944 because Mazda not so shyly said this is our target with that car, and they got a lot of blowback for that. And then the FD came along and they were like, look, we got the budget sports car with the Miata coming along, make this the best it could possibly be. So it was lightweight, powerful. They had the option to make it mid-engine, front-engine, piston, rotary, etc. But they really focused on making it a lightweight, just weapon of a sports car. Well, they were testing it, and they found that the chassis was flexing because they made it too light. Like, it was flexing right in the door sills and stuff like that. So maybe they didn't quite reinforce that what's it called, Todd's friend's RX-7 enough. But it's actually interesting just how close that RX-7 came to being, well, I don't want to say death trap, but being flimsy and, like, you know, basically one of the, you don't want to be in an accident in. And it just goes to show you how obsessed Mazda was with making that an out-and-out performance weapon. This brings me to an interesting question. I know we didn't really plan for this or talk to about this. Which RX-7 would you guys get? What would you do power-wise? And basically, what would you do with it? Why would you wide body it? All that sort of stuff. Hansen, you don't appear to be on your phone like Greg, so you get the honor of going first.
Well, I would go with the FD just because it looks so good. It's the best RX-7. I would immediately sell it for lots of money and then buy something that I would actually drive because
yes, great answer.
I mean, it's a great classic Japanese car, you know, rotary engine, I mean, and screams to probably over 9,000 RPMs, just like other rotaries. But I know that car has a very finite life, and I hear you about, like, you know, if I own a car, I want to drive my cars. Like I'd be scared to drive that car just because of like uh, how quickly it can be devalued. So I would actually sell that for lots of money and then buy something else that I could freely enjoy, knowing that it's once it crosses over 100,000 miles that I'm basically not have to say
Yeah.
goodbye to it. So
My
that's
answer
really
is I
good.
wouldn't buy one. I don't like RX-7s. I don't think any of them are good looking. I know, I know.
Wow.
Everyone hates
Okay.
me for that opinion, but I don't think the FD is
Shocking.
particularly beautiful. I don't think any of them are very, very good looking. They're great cars, and the FD is probably the best of the bunch. But I don't particularly think that they're just not for me. If I'm spending the money on something like that, I would much rather buy a Subaru WRX GC8 and make it a 22B. That's what I would do. I'd not buy that, spend the exact same money, and make that car in World Rally Blue with some sick gold wheels and pretend I'm a Colin McRae every day. That's what I would do.
Um,
Chad?
well, Greg, thank you for playing along and being the wild card you always are. Um,
My opinions are legendarily terrible.
so here's why you're both wrong. No,
Okay.
obviously the FD is the best looking of the bunch. I don't think the original RX-7 I have no desire with. The I kind of dig the FCs. I dig the look of them. I think they can look good and all this other stuff. The problem with RX-7s for me is the Wankel. And so the first thing I would do, regardless of collector stat, like I wouldn't buy a collector grade car to start with. Like I wouldn't buy a car that was unmolested, low mileage, early gen, etc., etc. I'd buy one that been driven, and let's just say the apex seals had waved goodbye to useful existence, and which means a rebuild. So if I'm pulling the motor, get rid of the snakes or rat's nest of vacuum lines that is make what makes the sequential turbo and rotary engine work, and I'd put the LS has been done. I'd probably go with like an F22C built with forced induction, so you still get that 9,000
Mm.
RPM redline. You still get good power. You still get a lightweight engine, even if it's not as light or have as good a center of gravity as a rotary. But you'd end up with the best of both worlds. I'd get rid of the pop-up headlights because this is my hot take. Pop-up headlights are one of the most overrated automotive things ever. I don't, I
I think
so
they're
do
the
most people.
coolest
So do most
automotive
people in our
things ever.
generations. NSX is better looking with the fixed headlights, in my opinion, and I'd get fixed headlights for the FD with the Honda engine, just to make it, you know, in the spirit of what it was designed to be, with an engine that doesn't use the same fuel as your weed whacker. So
Yeah.
that's kind of my
Um,
approach there. Uh,
yeah.
let's see.
Totally agree with Hunter here. Unless your name is Rob Dom and you try to put yourself into bankruptcy with your FD, or you have enough money to put in your living room as a centerpiece, just avoid it so you don't have to drive it.
I mean,
Yep.
I will say this
Yeah.
with Rob Dom is his stuff is highly entertaining because he takes you. It's the first time tonight the one fell. He takes you inside the what you call it, the process. Like he had an hour and a half long video
Yeah.
simply on wiring the four rotor,
Yeah,
the all wheel drive
his
four wheel.
his stuff is great.
So like it's super nerdy. It's super cool.
Yeah.
Antoine asks FD RX-7 or Mark IV Supra. I'm pretty sure I know your guys' answer, but while I find my headphone, discuss.
Yeah.
Super.
Yeah. Unlike the FDRX7 Mark IV Supra, I would actually daily drive because it's very reliable, makes lots of power, looks
Yeah.
really good. I probably wouldn't mod it. I would just drive it as is. It's a great kind of a representation of the 90s Japanese supercars, really. Um, so yeah, that would be my choice, the Mark
Yeah.
IV Supra.
Agree. I'm in the Mark IV Supra. Again, not really a car that I'm like I have to have. Like I'm not like a Mark IV Supra fanboy. I'm not just like I think they're pretty, but I don't think that it's like it doesn't. I don't think it deserves the hype it has. The
It
design's
outbroke
cool.
a
It's a great.
Ferrari of the
It's
era,
a great.
braking distance.
Yeah, I mean, like, again, I'm weird in the fact that I like interesting cars, but interesting to me. Like, so I'm a very opinionated person in that respect for cars. But again, choosing between those two, I would choose the Mark IV Supra, like without question. I don't like RX-7s. I don't think that they're good cars. I don't think they're particularly beautiful either. So
I'd probably go FD and do the exact build I just spoke about. You know, pissed off F22, turbocharged, higher. When I was growing up, it was the Viper and
This
the
is
FD. To me, were two of the best looking cars I'd ever seen. I'd always wanted to own an FD, and then I learned otherwise about rotaries. So I kind of I lost interest in them, and now I'm like, it's weird because again, even like a clapped out version of one costs a pretty penny, so like they become collectors cars and things of that nature. So like I would probably go that route just because like the Supras is just it's an amazing car. It has an amazing engine. The brakes are crazy impressive on it given the era in which it came from. But like again, I cannot leave well enough alone. Like I cannot not look at a car and go, how would I make this different and interesting to me? Interesting to me.
yeah,
Like I look at a Mark IV Supra and I go, you know what? That would be awesome with a 1UZ twin turbo build as opposed to the 2J. Like, even though I would
yep.
do a 2J build on something else, like it would just be it would annoy purists. It would be awesome. It would 1UZ sound amazing, and it's a relatively doable thing because, like I said before, the SC400 subframe is pretty mateable to a Mark IV Supra. You know, of the Japanese legends, I still think the NSX is the best by my estimation. Is the one I would want the most, but like I said, the FD is really close behind. Jesse, lots of vowels in his last name, has a
Jesse, lots of vowels. Hey, Jesse, lots of vowels. Hey, Joey, back to donuts.
you could go hang out with Gregor Arithmetic.
That'd be great.
There's a 1980 Chevy Monza 2+2 V8 4-speed and a 1985 Kawasaki that is the longest alphanumeric thing I've ever seen in my life. GPZ 750.
GPC 750E2 turbo.
Oh, that's amazing.
360 McQuit.
That's interesting, Jesse. If you have pictures of that, send it to DM it to us so that we could showcase it because I'm interested to see what that is.
Yeah, I agree. Did you guys, since we're talking about like everyone's builds, and I'm gonna go completely on a different topic. Since we're almost 2 hours in and haven't even gotten to anything we wanted to talk about.
Wait. Greg, don't you remember the first rule of mass media? Always give the viewer what they want.
That's right. Talk about them, make them love us. Did you guys watch the Formula One race opener?
I watched bits of it. Yes.
I watched the highlights. I was elsewhere.
I had
so
it
I could not
recorded,
watch
and then
it,
one of my
unfortunately.
one of the corporate overloads of our golf course ruined the. Or one of the, I was at the golf course and someone ruined the result for me. So I'm like, oh, gosh. But like from all the highlights I watched and stuff, it was epic. I loved watching Red Bull bow out. Haas P5.
Yeah, what happened?
So
That's so crazy.
Here's the prevailing theory on that I was actually watching that today. All the other teams had found out to have a similar issue in testing on low fuel situations. Red Bull did not run at a low fuel test in testing. So they never encountered the same issue as all these other, I forget the website the YouTube video I was watching on it, but that was kind of the big thing there. I love that happened. I love that their brakes are overheating. I love that they somehow managed to drop Verstappen's car in such a fashion after a pit stop that it bent a tie rod. All of it too perfect for words. This isn't even a commentary on how last season went. I'm not my favorite driver is Ricardo. I'm not a big Hamilton fan, but the way last season, like the way they were so, and Max is such a one. I loved every second of it. And Haas P5 couldn't have been better.
Yes.
That was really cool.
P5 is
actually.
awesome.
K-Mag.
That's crazy.
And I got a feeling that's the highest finish they'll ever have.
I don't think so. Honestly, I really don't. I think they'll be competitive in the top 10.
Where did Mick Schumacher end
He was
up?
11th.
Yeah, and he only finished 11th because he was spun, and I think his car actually had a problem after that.
Yeah, he was
because of contact.
Mm-hmm. He was. I forget who it was, but it was for causing a collision. Got the penalty for spinning out.
Latifi?
I don't know. He likes to affect races
Someone.
and championships in his free time, so why not? But yeah, it was a really cool race, and it looks like these cars can pass. Like you can get in fights, you cannot.
Yeah.
The tires will last. It looks like you can.
Yeah, the Verstappen Leclerc battle was great. It was like 2-3 laps, and it was going back and forth.
Yeah.
Which was fantastic.
Yeah, that was really cool. Up until the point where Verstappen locked up his brakes and just doing his usual dives.
But I mean, if he kept with it, they could have had a battle for probably 5 to 10 laps.
Yeah.
Probably less than that, because if Max followed suit, there would have been a collision, and Checo would have won.
Probably, but there was the potential for a 5 to 10 lap battle, which then would lead to increased tire degradation, and the second and or third and fourth would have had a little bit more time to catch up. So could have brought other cars into the fray as well. So I think that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think it was. I think this race was great for F1. Not because personally the result was hysterically awesome for me, but like it shows that, hey, everyone doubting the fact that this new car was jointly conceived by Ross Brawn, arguably one of the most brilliant F1 minds in the history of the sport. Like, just reality check. Like, dude, Ross Brawn knows his stuff. He is a phenomenal engineer. Michael Schumacher with Benetton, Michael Schumacher with Ferrari, the Brawn F1 team that literally was designed around a Honda engine. They had to modify it, basically do an engine swap, which in an F1 car is no small feat, with Mercedes power, and still wiped the floor with everyone. So, like, the guy knows what he's doing.
That's cool.
You shouldn't have doubted him.
Yeah.
So I'll ask you guys this. Pick right now. We have 1 week. Constructors, drivers champion. Hansen, go.
Oh my God.
Why do I go first all the time?
He didn't even watch the race. Why is he going first?
Well,
Bullshit.
Because we saved the best for last.
Yeah,
I mean, we lead off strong.
Nice attempt at a save. Good job.
Well, to be fair, I go last anyway, so.
Yeah, I feel that was coming next. Say your.
So I think what's interesting here is that the car behaves very differently than previous years. Like they call it like porpoising. It bounces a lot. So I don't want to make any calls yet just by seeing one race. I think after 2 or 3 races we're going to see like something more consistent. So I feel like there's still
you can't use logic and reason and try to get more data. You can't be an engineer. We're talking heads on the internet. We have to make a bold prediction now.
Let me talk through my logic first.
You have to make a decision.
All right, Hansen's going with Williams. Greg, your thoughts?
I still have a feeling. That Hamilton is going to be the drivers' champion, and I think Mercedes is still going to be the constructors.
Interesting.
This is all the long game. This is one race. I mean, looking at the results, they still finished P3 and P4. So I think that they're going to dial all of these problems out by race 3. And then it's just going to be, I think the top teams, seeing the Ferraris finish 1-2 this time, I think there's going to be like a 3-way battle, which is definitely going to be a lot more exciting. I still think Red Bull is the team to beat, but I got a feeling in the long run, Mercedes are just going to be the champs.
Sticking with the tried and true. Greg, British, probably picking up McLaren. Moving on.
Aston Martin will win the championship, even though they are dog shit.
Adios, Jesse. Thanks for watching, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks,
And
Jesse.
thanks for DMing your photos. We'll feature them on the next build. And John Augustine, I know you just became a supporter today. I don't know if you're still watching, but we got all of your videos or all of your photos. Sorry. And Hansen and Chad, if you go into the DMs from on the Facebook page, there is an inordinate amount of pictures of awesome cars that this guy has owned. And John, dude, I aspire to be you, my friend. I really do. Like, holy crap. Anyway, Formula One. This is really for us since there's not a ton of people watching anymore. But
This is for the record,
watching,
so we can come back to this when we have literally tens of viewers, and we can show how wrong you were. Let's go.
Best, exactly. I mean, this is going to be captured on video for posterity. I'm going to say Ferrari wins constructors.
Construction tape.
Constructors, erector set. Ferrari wins the Lego build, and they're going to win the season as the constructors. And I think Carlos Sainz wins his first world championship. I think Leclerc folds under the pressure with Max and has too many battles, and they take each other out, and Sainz wins.
Interesting. I wonder if there's ever been a World Rally Champion father, F1 World Champion, like, son. Like, I wonder if there's ever been, like, you know, the father won the World Rally Championship, one won the F1 Championship. Because that'd be kind of
interesting.
That'd
be cool.
Because Carlos Sainz Sr. was epic. I mean, he was a phenomenal. I mean, he won Paris Dakar all the time. I really want to go something other than Ferrari.
So Red Bull.
Not a chance on your life. I will be 100% wrong every time with that. Even though I do support Red Bull in a fairly large way through their beverages. But at any rate, it's interesting to just to look at your guys' picks. Like Hansen going Mercedes, the tried and true engineering. Merc, you know, they have some pretty radical designs. They're currently struggling with porpoising all over the place. And that's why they're a little bit off the pace. In addition to, for the first time in a long time, they're struggling with straight line speed, whether it be drag or engine power is pretty similar, but their car seems to be not slippery through the air and things like that. In addition to, if you don't get a good corner exit, your top speed is going to be affected on a straightaway and things of that nature and stuff like that. Thanks, Ken. Your presence is sincerely extremely comforting, and thank you so much for sticking out with us for this entire time. Seriously, we do appreciate it an absolute ton. So that's where Merc is struggling. So like and I try to look back and like see, you know, the history, right? You know, has anyone really found a ton of straight line speed in season without sacrificing like wing angles and things like that? Because if Mercedes is porpoising, the way you help porpoising is you raise ride height. The way you get downforce back is by adding it via the wings, which obviously creates more drag and things like that. So like they got a lot of moving parts there. They obviously have that really unique side pod design that I think is going to help them out and stuff. But I'd like Merc to do it. I think I'd like to see Merc and Hamilton come back and after this way season end and things like that. Ferrari seems to have the best engine. I mean, if you look at the current constructors title, it's Ferrari 1, Mercedes 2, Haas 3rd, Alfa Romeo 4. I'm not saying it's going to stay like that, but the common denominator in 3 of the 4 teams, Ferrari power. So Ferrari really, with their new split turbo design, really nailed power and things like that. And they seem to have nailed the handling and things like that as well. I'm probably going to say, just because I cannot bring myself to do it, I'll do it in 3 steps. So my brain says a Red Bull to win the constructors.
This is the longest answer ever. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So I was partially right.
So my head says Red Bull, assuming they figure out these issues. My heart says Ferrari, or I'm sorry, my gut says Ferrari, and my heart says Mercedes for the constructors. In my head, I'm 100%, even if Max not the champion, Lorec. And again, my heart wants to see Leclerc.
Lorec.
Sorry, well, Greg, with his stupid erector set comment.
I thought you were calling Max Larek, which I think we should make his new nickname.
That's exactly that was exactly what I was doing. It was in no way mispronouncing Leclerc's last name in any way, shape, or form. I will just. So I got Leclerc winning. Like I said, with my heart wishing for Hamilton, because, like I said, I don't want, with this new generation of car, Mercedes struggling, I don't want to see like his last great chance be last year. You know, they're the third fastest car on the grid right now, and they got some catching up to do. And it's very rare that an F1 team makes up that amount of a gap in enough time to affect the championship. Like when you go back and look at Braun just stormed out to the lead. People caught up and were winning races at the end of the season, but by then it was too late. So I would really like to see I would like to see Merck be highly competitive by the end of the year, just to hope, you know, Hamilton gets that record setter. But Leclerc, Hart, Hamilton, I'm really excited because it seems like passing is back in F1. Haas is a factor again, and they just do better when they don't have a sponsor. And maybe they should choose sponsors better in the future. You know, Haas is back, which is great for
Russian
that.
oligarchs.
Yep, or mysterious energy drink companies. Let's see here. But real quick,
Still waiting on that rich energy.
Yep, there's $50 well spent.
Yeah.
Anton doesn't ask a lot of racing. How many laps? It depends on the circuit. They usually run for about hour and a half, hour and 45, and then the laps are based on the track overall track distance.
Like 200
something in that neighborhood. Yeah. They were supposed. I think the Miami race is next year. I think, but they've started
this year.
It is this year, and they have started construction and stuff on it. It looks actually awesome. There's been a lot of really positive feedback on that, and I know Detroit was a conversation. I don't know where much beyond with that. I think Belle Isle, if they could meet the FIA safety standards, would be a really awesome venue for F1. It's great for IndyCar and sports cars. So I think
Miami Grand Prix May 8th, so it is coming up very soon. It is a real thing.
Okay. Also, correction, I just looked it up. F1 Grand Prix races must be no less than 305 kilometers, or roughly 190 miles long.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a really exciting season. It's certainly massively more exciting than NASCAR this year.
Can I ask you guys a quick question real quick?
Yes, you just did.
Please. Okay. George Russell, he's now Hamilton's teammate. Who's going to be the faster driver? You guys think?
Hamilton.
It'll still be Hamilton.
Yeah. I mean, let me put it to you this way:
Russell's still too green.
That car is a handful, and Russell, like Greg said, is too green. And then you just look at, I mean, obviously there's a lot of races left to go and things like that. But like when you're getting out qualified by Alpha and Haas and a lot of these junior teams, let's say, listen, Russell, he's going to win a championship one of these years. F1 is in such phenomenal hands moving forward when like the likes of Alonso, Vettel, Hamilton, when they all retire, these young guns, they're poised, but the car is a handful. And Hamilton's experience is just going to carry him for this year. You know, next year after, maybe not, but that's pretty much it.
Like you said, that's the future of F1. Like Leclerc, Sainz, Lando, Leclerc, Sainz, Lando, George Russell, Alex Albon, Mick Schumacher. Like, I mean, the future is extremely bright for Formula One, and then like all this like amazing talent coming up through F2. Like Oscar Piastri should arguably be in Formula One right now. There's no reason he shouldn't be. Like Yuki Tsunoda seems to be like a good ever improving driver, but Oscar Piastri deserves a seat over him, honestly.
Herta. from America.
Yeah, Colton Herta, like he's
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
was just
like
signed on.
there's a lot of really top end talent coming up in this next generation of 5 to 10 years. Like it's a lot. Like, will there be another Hamilton that comes out of this, or another like Schumacher that comes out of this? Not necessarily Mick, Michael, his dad. Like, maybe not, but you might get like 4 or 5 people that could get 2 to 3 different championships. Like, I mean, Max Verstappen, as much of kind of a dickhead that he is apparently, in some people's opinion, like he's a
Fact, not
very
opinion.
good driver. So, like, like
Well,
he
he's
could
the only
be
one
the
that I
next
see being like
Hamilton potentially. Like there's a ton of talent coming out right now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he, as much as I hate to say it, absolutely Verstappen has that chance to be the Hamilton, the Vettel, the guy who wins multiple. Like everybody forgets Vettel has what 4 world championships.
Right.
Like
Yeah, he's
he
got
was
4.
dominant for a long, long time.
Yeah.
4 years is an eternity in F1.
No, yeah.
Max has that opportunity because he's locked up with Red Bull. Red Bull seems to have this new generation car pretty figured out. So we got another 4 or 5 years of this car, I think.
Yeah.
So like just
2026.
So he has the potential to do it. But I think this car is given a lot of hope because I think by the end of it, you're going to be looking at 4-team battles like it was back in the glory days, and F1 having that ability is going to explode the sport.
Yeah.
And to answer Mark Anthony's question, that's all. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next.
So sorry, Mark. Peace out.
But yeah,
Mark's a buddy of mine. Thanks for tuning in, dude. Appreciate it. Volvo guy.
So yeah.
Christian, in answer to your question, do you guys have a podcast? Well, you're watching it. This is basically our podcast. We do this every Monday at 8 p.m. We try to talk for about, hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on what topics we got. Tonight, we basically just made it about you guys, like everyone we talked to on chat, like what you guys are doing with your cars, what you like, stuff like that. I mean, you guys can see it in the comments. There's almost 200 comments on this stream, which is, I think this is the best amount of interaction we've had with you guys. So, like, we want to keep doing this. Like, you keep tuning in. Monday at 8 p.m. We get enough people doing it, we'll do more of these like throughout the week. So, if we keep going the way it's going, we'll definitely expand and do more of these. And
sorry, Mark. Mark, if you want. And
sorry, Mark.
Later, dude.
To kind of combine Christian and unfortunately poor Mark. If you guys ever miss any of the stream and you want more of the full stream or even the highlights of the stream, 2 places. Shifting Lanes 2, we have 2 stream highlight videos in addition to our vlogs every week. Those come out so you get the best of segments there. Also, but if you want to watch the full VOD, the full video, head on over to Shifting Lanes Live on YouTube. All of our videos just go automatically upload there. It's the full 2 hours, which good on you if you want to watch, but that's where they're.
God bless you if you want to see our faces for 2 hours.
I don't even want to see my face for 2 hours.
I definitely don't want to see Chad's face for 2 hours.
I just have a couple of post-it notes over your guys' faces.
The old check engine light strategy. Good call.
Yes.
Just black tape. All I hear is your voices. I can't stand your face. It's terrible.
So, but yeah, honestly, guys, I mean, I had a whole outline for today's show. Hunter makes an actual great point. Just subscribe to all our channels.
Yes. Yes. We're entertaining. Damn it.
Yeah. So yeah, this was great, guys. I mean, I had a whole outline for today's show. We got to one of them, and that was
blew it. Totally
the Alpha
blew it. And
GT35
you in a good way.
But this is the best way to spend 2 hours, just talking to you guys.
Yes.
Because it's
talking cars.
It's you guys direct what you want to watch, and we talk about it. That's perfect because I had some pretty boring stuff slated, so you saved my ass.
Well, I mean, this is basically just like us talking about
Yeah.
cars, which is what we love, and like we love hearing about cars and like looking at other people's cars and like
Yeah.
commenting on them, and I love this back and forth with the
Yeah.
No,
fans.
this
Oh yeah,
This is a
and
100%.
lot of
agreed.
fun.
I think next week we do this again, but we start like featuring some of your builds because I think some people did DM us a bunch of different stuff. John DM'd us a whole bunch of stuff that he's owned over the years. It's we could probably dedicate an entire stream just to his collection. He said he's owned like 60 cars over the course of his life. All of them are almost
Crazy.
all of them are cool. He threw a ton of pictures and DM'd them to us. So that's cool. I think a couple other people have also DM'd pictures. So if you guys have, for the people that are still watching, if you have cool cars or cars that you're just passionate about, send them to us. Give us a little description. We'll feature them on stream, and we can just talk about like your cars, which is again what we want to do. Like we want to just talk cars. Like we will do news segments and whatever here and there, but like just talking cars is like what we want to do. So that's
Yeah.
all. That's it.
And like
So,
Greg said,
shoot us DMs, join our groups, and do whatever you want to do. Get in touch with us.
yeah, like Greg said, like if we get popular enough, we'll do multiple of these. Maybe we'll have a news day or something like that. But like
Right.
for right now, I would much rather have these things just be chatting with you guys, come at us with all the stuff you want to talk about and things like that. So it's always more interesting like that. Hopefully, we entertain you guys enough to where you want to come back for more. Like I said, sub to all our channels because like that's where it's at. You help us out, and we're doing some cool stuff. Hansen's reviews are awesome. Greg's Polestar is awesome, and my Mustang is going to be epic when it's finished. So I hope you guys enjoy all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, good nature ripping aside, your Mustang is gonna be so sick when it's done. Like it's pretty sick now. It's
Yeah.
like 500 horsepower, NA build, but like
Yeah.
when that
So
thing
easy,
gets boost,
500
it's gonna be an absolute monster.
Yeah, I cannot wait.
Yeah.
I want to get some rips in the track with her in her current state before I put, another 200 horsepower into her. Because
Yeah, make sure you get
Yeah.
good
Yes.
tires too. So I don't know what kind of tires. you
Nitto
have right now,
NTO
but,
5s,
yeah.
they're
They're
pretty.
good.
They're good.
Okay.
They're good.
Okay.
Hunter asked if he
Hunter-
could just send pictures of his S60R with the head off like it's been sitting for 2 years and call it a build. I mean, that's what all builds on the internet are, man.
By the power of the P2 gods, I bestow unto you, yes, that is a build in the P2R community. 100% correct.
Bonus if you could send a picture with like a weed going through like the wheel wells.
Preferably a weed growing through the gap in the cylinder walls, through the engine block, and out the manifold. If
Shimmed
you
by
can do that,
nature.
I will pay for your car. That would be amazing.
Whoa. You don't want to say that on the internet, my brother. His next
Well,
picture
I mean,
will have
it's-
like a tree in
It's an
cylinder 4.
S60R. Dude, it's an S60R that's been sitting there for 2 years. It's probably about $1,500. To be honest.
Oh man. Well,
Of course, I'm kidding, Hunter. Just finish your car for the love of God.
Oh man. Yeah, guys. Anything else before we have to sign off for the evening?
Just thank you to Christian. He commented for being a 5-year follower of the page, or anniversary follower. Thank you for that, and that you guys are having a blast doing these streams with us. So I appreciate that. That's awesome. And Hunter's gonna grow a tree in his 44. So cool. Sounds good. I hope it's a fucking beautiful.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
At least gets some syrup out of it.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As you can tell by us, I had a blast today. Hope you guys enjoyed it too. We'll be back next week. Subscribe, like, do all the things. And send us pictures of your cars. Of your cars.
Yes, no dick pics.
yes.
But again,
As
thanks.
much as Chad enjoys them, please no dick pics.
And, good news, guys. Greg will not be on next week's stream, so definitely want to tune in for that one. He might be here, but I control all the audio, so I just mute him. But that's it, guys. I've been Chad. That's Greg. That's Hansen. We'll catch you next week at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
See you guys.
See you.